The firewood is cut at Dove World Outreach Center, and the church's pastor, Reverend Terry Jones, says despite receiving death threats, he and other church members plan to burn 200 Korans on Saturday.
International Burn a Koran Day. This we actually only put up because our smaller sign out front was vandalized many times. And the burning will actually take place out here.
Reverend Jones says he and other members now carry pistols to defend the congregation of a few dozen people. He says the goal of burning Korans is to send a message to Al-Qaeda, the violent Islamic group that carried out the terrorist attacks in New York and Washington 9 years ago.
That led us to a certain extent to International Burn a Koran Day to honor those who were murdered at that time and to actually put a real clear message out to Islam that we will not tolerate, we do not want them trying to push their agenda upon us, in other words, Sharia law.
Reverend Jones says Islamic extremism poses a threat to the United States and the world, but he says moderate Muslims should feel free to practice their faith in the country. He says the church's message is not intended for all Muslims.
We are not hateful towards Muslims. We are not aiming this at Muslims. We are aiming this at Sharia law.
In Afghanistan, some people feel the event is aimed directly at Muslims everywhere. Hundreds rallied in Kabul to denounce Jones and any desecration of the Quran. And top commander of U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan, General David Petraeus, says the Quran burning may lead Islamic militants to launch new attacks on Western troops. In Florida, Muslim leaders at one mosque are calling for a tempered response. The Darul Uloom Institute in Pembroke Pines gathered congregants and leaders of other religions to discuss the planned Quran burning. Reverend Renwick Bell is the pastor of a nearby church. He says very few Christians would agree with burning the Quran.
When a Christian minister does something like this, I kind of like to ignore it, but yet it does cause fervor in the world. But I just think that he's doing something without really thinking about it or trying to get publicity.
Leaders of Hindu, Buddhist, and Jewish communities agreed. Imam Sheikh Shafayat Mohammed organized the event to foster understanding across religious lines. He said congregants needed to hear the message of other religious leaders who oppose the Quran burning.
Having them send a message to him that, hey, this is not American. This is not an American thing. It's not a Christian thing. It's not a Hindu thing. It's not a Buddhist thing. It's not a Jewish thing. You're really misrepresenting the world, religions, and Americans from the true point of view.
For many congregants, the idea of desecrating the Quran may inspire strong emotions, but Anthony Abdullah San Pedro says Muslims and others need to work past those feelings.
It does anger me, but it has to come to a better way of solution, a better solution to be able to handle it than just burning the Quran and Muslims getting mad over it or stuff of that nature. That's not going to cause anything better.
Mosque leaders say events like this one can bring different religions together and ease tensions which they fear will be provoked by the Quran burning. Brian Wagner, VOA News.